Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
You guys are supposed to write a procedure and then make use of that procedure name and make use of prepare call and pass the query and then execute the query and see execute query, whichever will be useful or not based on the procedure result. Because if at all, if the procedure has written some response like some data, then you are supposed to use some other mechanism to read the data. Ultimately, you should call connection.close method, or else your connection will be hanging if at all if your program has got terminated abruptly. And the connection closing, it's like let us say your JDBC, if there are only 100 connections available and you forgot to close the connection and within your application server, your program is still running. So that means the connection is still alive and the connection cannot be handled to some other client request. So in that case, you'll be going to get some kind of exceptions. So normally, people will prefer to close the connection whenever their work has completed. Statement, I guess statement has received from connection itself. So once you have closed the connection, it's not required for you to close the statement. No garbage collection on connection. See, the connection object is an external to our program. So you are creating a connection external to the Java program. That means you are asking the driver class which is available inside the memory. So as long as your program got terminated, that's fine. But if at all, if you're working with respect to the application server and the client request has completed, then your connection is still hanging in the application server. So that connection, it's not possible to hand over to some other person, and it can't be garbage collected also because the connection is still alive to the database. Yeah. See, if you can feel that the connection object is closed here, but you need to think about the underlying, the Java level, how it has established the connection to outbound the socket communication to the database IP. Yeah, go ahead, Vijay.
I don't know. But before closing the connection, should we check if this is not null? Because sometimes does it throw that error?
Which one?
When you say close connection.
Okay.
Should we check? I've seen the code somewhere. We say if the connection is not.
Oh yeah, normally yeah, you can avoid throwing the exception before. You'll just verify whether the connection is null or not, and then only close the connection. Or else, I guess there is a method called connection isLn. Is it available? Yeah, there is a method called connection.isClose. You just call this method,
It is not
and then yeah, and then and then call connection.close method.
No, not
You
closed, right?
you just need to take a look at the API. Here the connection dot is closed, which will verify whether the connection is closed or not. If at all, if the connection is not closed, then only it will go and execute the connection dot close method. Yeah, correct. You just need to use the not symbol.
Okay. And one more question regarding this store procedure, how it works in SQL, editor, I don't know. When after executing the store procedure, should we set the output parameters?
Yeah, that's based on our procedure input and output. You guys are supposed to work on that.
Okay.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
One question. We are using this for name for this driver class. Why we cannot use as a new with a new word like?
Currently, the driver interface. I guess driver is an interface. Let me verify that. form dot MySQL dot JDBC dot driver. Yeah, this is a class only, which will extend non-registered driver, implements java.sql.driver. Yeah, correct. See, the reason for that is the object needs to be available in the memory, and the object holding needs to be taken care by our driver manager, but not by ourselves. If you go and create driver class equal to new driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is how you are specifying. But the object, it is within our hold, but not with respect to our JVM execution. Whenever you have loaded like this, whatever the object that got created will be returned or will be used by your driver manager class automatically. The driver manager has the capability of looking for an object which got created by the JVM itself.
Okay.
So, but here if you have created an object, it will still create an object, no issues. But the pointer was available to your reference.
So can't we pass the driver object into the driver manager?
No, that's what they have provided as an API. We can't change, right?
No, I was thinking instead of dynamically creating like the first line, I had that question. So
okay.
If at all if we create new,
no, the get connection, we don't have any access, and I don't think any other methods available. Here there is a get driver which will provide you what kind of driver that got loaded into the memory, and you don't have. See, the first thing is it's not possible for us to create an object for driver manager itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the work needs to be done by our JVM directly, but not by us. So only thing that driver manager is expecting is load the driver into the memory, and I will take care of the rest of the stuff by looking at what kind of drivers are available in the memory.
But that is only for this execution, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Once you have terminated the program means nothing was available in the memory or the heap, right?
So you mean to say that driver object will be ready for recycle?
Once after you have terminated the main program. Yeah.
Yes.
Chris,
so if there are two
driver
for name
manager
connections, I don't think so.
So why can't we produce why can't we use the new method, and we have to do that the other way around?
But we don't have any access methods once after that, right? See, if you have created also, we should be having some access methods which will load the driver class.
Okay.
We don't have that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Otherwise, they should have provided a parameter for sending the reference of the object, right?
Parameter for?
Assuming that there was whatever we are asking, that new of the driver, That
Okay.
get connection should have a way of taking that object reference.
See, the reason why these guys are asked to provide like this is this implementation will be done by some other class, but not by Java. So they won't be able to decide which class will be going to use this kind of mechanism. Or else, let us say they have implemented normally, and sometime later, let us say they have provided some setter method for that, and they can provide or they can specify what kind of class that they are supposed to pass for the parameter setting. So they'll just provide a specification. So for that purpose only, they didn't provide any kind of manual stuff or object creation or setter or any kind of mechanism for that. So if you take a look at this also, each and everything we are working with respect to java.sql mechanism or the SQL package, but we are not at all working with respect to any kind of or MySQL code or MySQL classes. Only thing we are asking is just load the driver, because the driver knows what kind of SQL call or how to execute this SQL call with respect to your database. Once you have loaded, let us say you have loaded Oracle driver. So the Oracle driver has certain implementations like how to execute the procedure or how to execute the function. If you load PostgreSQL, they have the capability of executing only functions. They don't have any procedure kind of stuff. So the internal architecture, they are supposed to make use of that, and internally they are supposed to call the methods from this particular class. So that's the reason I guess they have expected the driver to be loaded into the memory instead of us creating. Normally, that kind of strategy we won't follow, Adil, because nobody expects two databases to be working at the same time. And if at all, if you are working at the same time means, I guess it would be better if you go beyond JDBC code. We'll discuss about that later, Adil. It's not required as of now, I guess. Okay, we'll discuss for another 15 minutes for client-server architecture, and then we'll close the session. Until now, we are following one specific format, like writing our box class or box weight classes, and then we are writing the box client class. Usually, it's not required to have a separate class for our main method, but still we are writing as a separate class, and we are calling or we are creating the objects for box or box weight from that. The reason for that is we are just separating the code in the sense the actual business logic kind of stuff. It should exist at one level, and the client code, Java itself, is an open source. So after some time, we might feel that the box and box weight are supposed to be exposed to some other project, or we are supposed to handle that to some other client. So when we are handling the code to some other client, it's not required for us to provide the public static void main method within our code. And the next reason is whatever the code until we have written, that's only specific to our Java or JVM level. So that means the code, whatever that you have written, you can still provide the jar file to the outside environment. So that means the jar file will be directly given to another machine, and they will import the jar file within their environment, and they'll be going to use the functionality. But let us say you want to write an application wherein you want to send the data in a dynamic way. Normally, for any kind of static pages, we'll use HTML communication, HTML, which is nothing but a markup language which will be used to get a resource or to post some information to a resource. But the information that you are retrieving is only a static information by using HTML communication. That means whenever you want to retrieve the information dynamically, let us say you want to retrieve the date dynamically, what is the current date now? Or you want to discuss with, or you want to get some other information, let us say how many number of days are available within February month, or for a leap year, how many number of days are there. So someone has to calculate dynamically and produce the result and provide it to you. So every day, so today's world, everything is based on the internet. So from a client perspective, the client in the sense, just until now we are discussing only the standalone clients like box client kind of stuff. Let us say the client itself is residing on some other machine and he wants to get some result based on a query or based on some inputs. So he'll specify that I'll pass some information to you and you'll just process that information and respond back with the result. So we need some client-server architecture kind of mechanism. The client-server architecture kind of mechanism. So in Java also you can develop such type of mechanisms, client-server architecture kind of stuff. For that we are supposed to move to advanced Java. Java EE, which is nothing but Java Enterprise Edition. One thing to be remembered with respect to advanced Java is we don't have any main method with respect to advanced Java. The fundamental. We won't be having any main method kind of stuff within advanced Java. But how the startup will be done? Normally the startup will be done only by using main method. Whenever you have written any kind of application, you are going to take help from a server. The server who will be executing your code. Some code you are going to write and some code the server will be going to write and provide an access to your code. Today we are just going to describe only the at a very high level. No need to discuss anything related to the coding level. So let us assume that you have some dynamic pages, dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages nothing but you are not going to use your HTML. You are going to use some advanced mechanisms that are available with respect to Java. Those two are servlets and JSPs. These are not the only ones that are available with respect to the page generation kind of stuff. There are some other also, but the fundamentals that are still available with respect to servlets and JSPs. Currently you have in the market like HTML5 or Flash, Adobe Flash or any other kind of mechanism, but ultimately you can say that these are the standard for that. HTML5, for HTML5, HTML is the standard, and on top of that it has developed, they have added some more tags to that. And Flash, it's not at all related to our Java, but the underlying code, whoever has knowledge with respect to Java, they'll easily able to understand the Flash code or the action script kind of coding. Normally the client application can develop a page by using a HTML page. The client can ask, hey, I want some information, or I want to retrieve a resource. Resource here is nothing but your static page or dynamic page. Normally, in terms of advanced Java, any kind of resource will be referred to your HTML page or it can be your JSP page or servlet generated page. So the client application can also use Java, or he can use a static reference like normal HTML page. He can just ask, I want the resource located at the server. For server, we'll have again the identification by using IP address and port. So the client can ask, I want the resource that is available at server, which was described by using the IP address and port. Let us say currently we have some resources. I have a date resource, which will display a date dynamically. And let us say I have a currency resource, which will take some input like currency in euro format and converts it into USD. So these are my resources, and from the HTML I will ask like, hey, go and get the resource. The resource is the date resource, or else go and get the currency converter kind of stuff. I will pass this information to you, and I want the currency conversion to be happened, and I want the result in USD format. So these kind of stuff, they are already available over the internet, and it's not required for you to develop again from the scratch. So you want the communication mechanism between the client and server, and for client and server communication, these two guys, they're supposed to discuss, and they are supposed to exchange the data. So for that purpose, they'll use a protocol called HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol. If you guys studied about OSI layer, the protocols, you guys will definitely understand about the HTTP protocol. So the client and server communication, they'll use HTTP protocol, which is a stateless protocol. Stateless protocol, that means whenever this guy has sent a request to the server, this will get a response. That's it. The connection will get terminated. He can't start a conversation to the server. That means, let us say I have sent a currency converter to this guy, and he has responded. Let us say I have sent 50 USD, and I want the conversion to be euro returned. Let us say the same client has sent one more request. The same client has sent one more request to the server. It's just like receiving a request from some other client. Or the server will feel that I am receiving one more request from the client. I won't care whether it is coming from the same client or different client. The reason for that is HTTP protocol itself is a stateless protocol, which means it won't maintain any conversation state between the client and server. Internally, when implementing in the Java, we won't talk about how the communication happens by using HTTP protocol, but we need to know normally how the client-server communication happens. We can have Adil, but in later stages we'll come to know about that. So if you guys already familiar with HTML, or I have already asked you guys to verify the basic HTML tags, and the basic HTML tags that are required are mostly form tag, input tag, submit tag, button tag, and for input, how to specify the text, or else how to make use of different attributes. For form tag, it consists of action attribute and the method attribute. Form tag, action attribute, method attribute. If at all, if you guys didn't verify, please go and verify now. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to use this. Method, which will specify how to submit the data or how to submit the form to the server. There are two types of method submissions. The first one is get method and the next one is post method. Normally, get method is used to get a resource on the server, and the post method is used to post some information to the server. Actually, that's the strategy normally we are supposed to follow, but even though if you haven't followed also, JavaSpec won't complain anything for that. And the next attribute is action attribute. The action attribute which will specify the resource details. Action attribute specifies resource details. Like, let us say you want to submit the form for getting the date resource. So you need to specify what kind of action that you want to perform with respect to the server. So the action attribute within your form tag specifies what kind of action that you want to perform with respect to the server. So currently my action is date resource. Either it can be currency resource. So from tomorrow onwards, we are going to use one server, which is Tomcat Apache server, or you can say Apache Tomcat server. Apache Tomcat server. So I'll send some instructions where you can download the Apache Tomcat server and configure within your Eclipse. If at all, if you haven't verified with respect to HTML form tag and form attributes as well, just take a look at that one, and which is required for tomorrow's class.
Chris,
normally,
sorry, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Is it is this Apache Tomcat, is it going to work with JDK 7 or should I downgrade to 6? You said I have to downgrade it to 6.
Oh yeah, it would be better if you downgrade to JDK 6.
Okay, sure. I will.
I guess Apache latest version, it will be going to work with JDK 7 also. But once you have moved to some open source code like Hibernate, Struts, or Spring, I guess they won't support JDK 7 as of now. So then you'll face some sort of class loading issues at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Krish?
Yeah.
This is Tulasi. Can you explain me about form, action method, get, post? Client server.
I asked you guys to verify the HTML tags. Did you?
Okay, I just missed the time. My phone got.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Because I have asked you guys to verify XML and HTML long time back, so that you guys will familiar with HTML, so that I can directly go ahead with the servlets or JSP. I'll tell you in a brief manner, but you guys are supposed to take a look at that one and need to understand some other tags as well. Okay. The first and foremost important one is form tag. The form tag, the purpose of form tag is to submit a form we need to know action, to which action or to which resource or what kind of a resource that you are expecting from the server. That will be specified with your action attribute. So currently you want the date resource or currency resource. See, currently we have mentioned that from client application we are talking to the server, but the server, on the server, it can consist of any number of resources. 100 resources it can contain. You need to specify what is the resource that we are expecting from our client side. That will be specified by using your action tag. So the action attribute of your form tag. And the next one is method. Method signifies in what way you want to submit the form to the server. In the sense, there are two parts. The first one is get method and post method. The purpose of get method is, normally the purpose of get method is to get a resource which is available on the server specified within your action. And the next one is post. The purpose of post is to post some information to the server. There are two other differences between get and post. The first one is whenever you have submitted a form. Submitting a form means, let us say, you have created one HTML page. Some student page you have created, and the student page you have entered all the information like first name, last name, or any other kind of information. And after that you have clicked on submit button. When you have clicked on submit button, you want to send all the information to the server. The get method, it will take all the request parameters, all the input parameters that are available on the page, and it will append to the URL. While submitting the form means you are already working on a client application which consists of some kind of URL, localhost colon, let us say our port is 8080 and our application is, let us say, student application. And if you normally you'll notice in the URL that there are some parameters after question mark, student name equal to Chris and student ID equal to 20. So this is how normally form will get submitted. This is how normally form will get submitted. So all the parameters, whatever that you are sending, they will be added. Let me write it one more time. HTTP colon localhost colon 8080 / your application name, and then whatever the data that you are sending, it will be appended as like this, and name equal to so this is how your URL will get prepared and will be submitted to the server when you are using get kind of request. So whatever the form parameters that your application contains or your page contains, those are all will get added to your URL, and these parameters are called as query parameters, URL query parameters. When you are submitting the form with respect to get, the query parameters are submitted by using URL, and when you are submitting the form with respect to post, the parameters won't be specified within your URL, and the form will be submitted like this, and the parameters are sent within your body. Whenever client has sent a request to the server, or whenever a server has sent the response back to the client, everything will be in the form of HTML only. The data, it will be in the form of HTML only, and the HTTP protocol we have mentioned, it consists of certain body. When you are submitting the form with respect to post, the body consists of the parameters like ID equal to 20 and name equal to Steve. So the parameters are specified within the body, whereas the parameters are specified within your query string when you are submitting the form with respect to get parameters. And second difference between get and post is the parameters that you are specifying within the URL. The URL has a certain length restriction, which is 256 characters, I guess. But when you're submitting the form, you don't have any restriction or like how many number of parameters that you are sending within the form, because everything will be added to the body and will be submitted to the server. But here when you are sending, everything will be added. All the query parameters will be added to the URL and will be submitted to the server. Another disadvantage while using with respect to get parameter is, let us say you are submitting the form and your form consists of some password. So the password will be, during the page display, the password will be specified as stars, but while submitting the form, if you have used get, the password will be displayed here, and whoever is near to your system or nearby your place, they'll be able to see your password, which is not a correct one. So when you are using the password kind of stuff, we want the data to be submitted in a secret way. That means the data to be sent within your body, and the client won't be having any access to the body, and he won't be able to see the data, and the data will be only visible to the server when the request was received by the server. Is that fine, Tulsi? SVN, that is for source control mechanism. I guess we'll discuss about SVN or CVS at the end of the whole session, probably. But nothing to be explained in that, because you should know, you should be able to get within from your project itself. There are only two operations like check-in or check-out, which is used for source control mechanisms. If you guys have some questions, you can stay for some time, or else you can leave the chat.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.